Hey everyone, today I want to go over a lot of new details about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and why at this point, I'm pretty much done when it comes to what these developers want to put in their games because it's gotten to a point where this entire conversation has gone off the rails and has entered parody at this point. And later on, there's a bombshell find by the internet that just obliterates this entire narrative. And once you see it, my god, dude. We'll get there, and there's also updates on them changing their community guidelines. You'll see as you watch this video how bad of a mess this all is. It's so bad. Firstly, I've seen quite a few comments in my previous videos on Kingdom Come calling me an apologist or pro-woke, which is just goofy because me of all people being pro-woke is insane, when I've been one of the primary pushers of Gamergate 2 since its inception. Originally, the way I looked at it was like this. As long as ideals weren't being forced upon you, then it was not bad per se. Like I said in other videos, games like Mass Effect, Skyrim, or Baldur's Gate 3 all featured same-sex romance options, yet people enjoyed those games and still do to this day. However, I think the difference here is how the audience has evolved and what they've grown to be accustomed to or more so willing to allow going forward in games. Let me explain. Based on your comments as I read through them, I came to this understanding of what many of you have been trying to say to me, which is that to allow such concepts to exist in games going forward in any capacity, like same-sex romance options, trans characters, whatever else you want to add to this, is an acceptance of such things in its totality no matter what. So what a certain section of the community is trying to convey here is that they are taking what I can only call a Puritan stance, where they will absolve and reject anything regardless that features any of these options in a game. Whether I agree with that or not doesn't really matter here. That's what seems to be the position of an overwhelming majority. And like I always say, the market will decide how things play out in the future regardless. Do I think Kingdom Come 2 will fail financially? Honestly, I don't see it happening. By stats alone, it's in the top 10 on Steam right now for pre-orders as we speak. I have no idea where it sits on PlayStation or Xbox charts because obviously none of us have access to the raw numbers there. But on Steam at least, it seems despite backlash that it's still doing well. I find this entire situation frankly ridiculous, and it all could have been avoided entirely had Warhorse just been open with players and just not fixed what clearly wasn't broken in the first place. And what I mean by this is the big elephant in the room, which is of course Henry now being able to suddenly be gay or bisexual, which has irked many fans online because Henry was never canonically able to do this in the first game if you played it. And the way Warhorse has gone about this can only be described as idiotic because it's now setting a terrible precedent going forward. On the Steam forums, one user asked why was Henry forced to be straight in the original game, to which a developer would simply answer budget constraints. Already, this answer pissed off a lot of people because it muddled the perception of what Warhorse wanted to do here versus the player's expectations. I think this answer was honestly just this developer trying to be funny or snarky, but it's clear that as time passed, people aren't laughing about it. The same developer would say more. That was probably me who answered back then I did not establish Henry as a character. Now there is an option to be bisexual, but nobody will be forcing you to play as a bisexual character. In addition to that, Henry can now also be more of a cat person because now we have cats. Again, they're just trying to be snarky with their answer and sort of make fun of the entire situation, but I see where this dev is coming from, but I do think if Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 just had same-sex romance from the get-go, none of this would really be a problem for anyone because it would have been there already. But I understand why players are mad, because to them any semblance of accepting the so-called woke elements of a game means that further concepts of increasing levels could theoretically get worse in future games if they're accepted in the first place. What I consider this all to come down to is that the audience at large, gamers I mean, have reached what I can only call an ideological state of pure apathy towards certain topics or concepts in games these days. And please listen to this whole video before you come to a conclusion or, attack me. It will make sense, I promise. But what I mean is that they are out of principle boycotting or refusing to buy anything if certain elements exist in the game to begin with. Whether this is right or not, according to me, doesn't matter. The market will decide the outcome either way. But the current state of gaming, especially in the past 4 years, not counting the one we're in right now because it's still too fresh, has been riddled with the sorts of games that have been resoundingly rejected across the board by players. Saints Row, Concord, Dustborn, the list continues, you know them all. All games that do in some capacity pair with the same ideology talking points, and feature things that people have rightfully become tired of. I think when it comes to diversity, for example, it too is now being rejected resoundingly because people are just sick of how forced everything is, not just in games, everything. Kingdom Come 1 was fully white, pretty much, outside of a small sample of people, and Kingdom Come 2 will have more diversity. However, a lot of that diversity, from what I gather, is the enemies and not really the heroes of the game. Since the story of the second game, according to the game's director, is about an invading army from a foreign land trying to pretty much take over the entire place. The diversity in this case isn't exactly a positive outlook, but regardless, players just don't want it anyways. That being said, this apathy, so to speak, has spilled over into everything else. People don't even want to entertain certain things if they include stuff that in any way connects to what they deem to be something that they don't want to support. Is it right? Again, the market will decide that question for all of us. At this point, I just want to wash my hands of Kingdom Come entirely because this entire situation is stupid. It's completely gone off the rails, and the misinformation and confusing communication from developers alike has just made this entire thing insufferable for me. At this point, I don't even know if I want to review the game anymore. I mean, maybe I will, I don't know. I suffered enough through Veilguard for you guys, and I frankly don't see this being nearly as bad as that was in terms of any social messaging way, but there's still things people are pointing out about Kingdom Come 2 that just makes me go, why are you guys, and I mean the developers by the way, not the players, doing this? In case you don't know, there's apparently one single black character in this game, a combat medic that Henry can speak to. And he has this one line of dialogue that leaked, and well, let me read you what it says. Overall, it is safer in our country, nobody will waylay you on your journey, and we treat women with greater respect and set great store by learning. Players have pointed out that this character, who would be Muslim during this point in time and claiming that they treat women better, to be crazy, considering how suppressed women would have been during this time, especially under that religion. However, without any more context, we can't say for sure. My question would be, is there an option for Henry to call out this medic in this moment about his claim that his religion treats women better than, say, Christianity at the time does too? Now, if there's an option to challenge his beliefs, then this brings an interesting conversation and moment to the game. However, if there isn't an option to criticize or downright reject what this medic is saying at this time, then what this medic is saying is more so modern-day propaganda in a game that is not set during modern-day times. And someone could then use that line of dialogue this medic says as ammunition to show that Warhorse has clearly lost the plot. But like I said, I need the context. Can I challenge this guy's viewpoints or not in the game? I don't know yet, the game isn't out yet and I haven't played it. But this is likely why I have to review the game, because it's moments like this where I need to get to the answers so that I can report them. But so far, it's not looking good, I gotta admit, for Warhorse. Now let's circle back to what that original developer was saying. One user asked them on Steam about the whole Henry now being able to be gay thing, but 8 years ago you knew that quite precisely. You're making it very easy for yourself here. Especially with your I don't know. We have a screenshot where you wrote that Henry was always supposed to be bi and it was only because of the budget that it wasn't the case, so what's your response now? This contradicts what you wrote 8 years ago. Why has your claim changed, not Vavra's? Why are you lying? The dev would then answer, sorry, more than 8 years ago, years before the release of Kingdom Come 1, I did not know which additional options we would have for Kingdom Come 2, or if there would be a Kingdom Come 2 at all. On Kickstarter, we promised the game would be sold in 3 acts. You underestimate how dynamic game development is. So the dev in question is claiming the reason why Henry can be gay now is simply because things change in development. While the devs surely will try to spin that story, they did it to add more player choice or whatever, I know for a fact why they added it for at least one particular reason. And that reason is award season. So if you didn't know, there was a controversy earlier this year where Sonic the Hedgehog 3 couldn't be nominated for anything at any award show pretty much, and the reason was apparently because it wasn't diverse enough. Yeah, I know, but let me explain. The Academy Awards, which, does the Oscars, has a criteria for quite a few years now where anything that does get nominated, despite the quality of the movie, has to have diversity in it. And that diversity has to be on the screen, behind the scenes, everything. Here's the official statement. The discrepancy between films that have qualified for the top category and films that are eligible in other categories comes either because the filmmakers did not attempt to qualify, likely the case for several documentary, animated, or international films, or because of new eligibility rules that require Best Picture candidates to meet additional benchmarks for diversity and inclusion. This is the second year that representation and inclusion standards, or RAIs, have been enforced, though they did not appear to disqualify any serious contenders in the category. According to this article that I'm referencing, around 116 films from 2024 were not eligible for any awards at the Oscars this year because they did not feature enough diversity despite their quality. One of these movies, by the way, that's not eligible was Bad Boys Ride or Die, which, yeah, I know, it has 2 black leads in it. And it was directed by non-white guys too, so what the hell are these award shows smoking? I have no idea, man. Like, how much diversity is needed before these things are even considered? It's ridiculous, I know. This makes me believe that stuff like Nosferatu even won't get nominated either because the cast is full of white people, but I guess we'll see, since it takes place in Europe well before immigration was a thing. So why am I telling you all of this, and what does it have to do with Kingdom Come Deliverance? The point is that this isn't just for the Academy Awards, it's video game awards season stuff too. The rules are pretty much the same. Basically, if you want your game to be nominated for awards, it needs to have diversity both in the game and behind the scenes. Although this already makes no sense because Astro Bot won Game of the Year last year and the entire dev studio is Japanese, and there's no diversity in that game. They're all robots and monsters, so already none of these rules really make any sense, and how they're implemented or enforced is clearly biased and pointless. I mean, From Software won Game of the Year for Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and Elden Ring, both made by Japanese people. Where was the diversity? I don't know. None of it makes sense. I agree. But why this matters for Kingdom Come is likely Warhorse realized the landscape of gaming has changed for awards, I guess, from when the first game came out in 2017 versus now. For example, the BAFTAs, as shown in this article from 2020, also had to force diversity into things too to get awards, to show you just how long this has been going on. So my assumption as to why Henry is suddenly able to be bi, I'm not protecting it, I'm just telling you this is probably why it's happening. And why there's suddenly people who are clearly not from medieval Bohemia in the game and so on, is because Warhorse is pandering in a sense to meet the criterias so that Kingdom Come 2 can be nominated come award season in 2025. Again, it's not me defending these choices, it's just me telling you likely the reason why it exists in the first place. Because obviously if your game wins a bunch of these awards, you can then, make trailers showcasing this or slap it on the Game of the Year edition version, and that maybe will coax people into buying it who haven't already. Do I think the forced diversity agenda is a good idea? Of course not. I think it's really stupid. Because we all know if a game had a primarily black cast of characters, it would still get nominated even though it has no diversity in it technically because it's simply one kind of people and that's it. But these rules are clearly not applied equally, and it comes down to political reasons and correctness. This can only be the true reason why, in my opinion, why Warhorse did this in the first place. Otherwise, come award season, they would not be legible, because sorry, your game is too white, and your hero is too hetero, I guess. It's ridiculous, I know, but I want you guys to understand why this may be happening. It is an industry-wide problem, not a Warhorse one, but I digress. But then you have Daniel Vavra, the director of the game, who answered this thing that Henry can be gay. Here's what he said. Kingdom Come Deliverance is an RPG. You are responsible for your decisions. If you want Henry to try a same-sex adventure, feel free. If you don't want to, you don't have to. All affairs are and were in Kingdom Come 1 purely optional. The characters are perfectly aware that it was a forbidden sin. So while they're still making it an option and making it historically accurate, fans are still against it. And at this point, the reasoning is what I already detailed. People are just fed up. They're tired and they're over all of this. Vavra would confirm the notion that Henry is you the player and his own character, and this again feels like it was changed in between games if I'm being honest. Because like I said in another Kingdom Come video, Henry is like Geralt of Rivia, like in The Witcher. Sure, you could decide what he could do in situations in-game, but Geralt was still canonically his own character. And in Geralt's case in the 3 Witcher games, there is 0 options to turn Geralt gay or bi because Geralt is canonically not that. And the same argument could be placed on Henry. The fact he has a specific name, a specific voice, and face that you the player cannot change yourself made many to believe that Henry would be treated like Geralt was, a character that does exist in this world, but has a predefined background, belief system, and presumably sexuality too. Now, had the hero of Kingdom Come been a fully customizable character, we're talking male or female and all of that, this would all be different. But Henry's not that kind of character, so it does feel weird to impose a different sexuality onto a character who wouldn't be that, if that makes sense. Like, I know that Ciri is the main character in Witcher 4, but if Geralt were playable again and suddenly he could be gay, just no, dude, no. It would be an assassination on his character, and CDPR could say, well, Geralt is you. No, he isn't. Geralt is not me or anyone else. Geralt is Geralt, and Henry is Henry. And I think what they did here is cause such a rift that it's causing everything to implode into this needless fight that never had to exist in the first place. All Warhorse had to do was respect the player's Henry from the first game and just build around them, as in better combat, game stability and etc. and all that stuff. This change has now shown that things that claim to be based are not actually that and can be changed whenever these developers feel like it. And I know Warhorse likely didn't add the gay option out of malice or to spite people, but they simply did it because they wanted more player choice. Although, like I said already, I think the real reason why they did this so that they wouldn't get snubbed come award season. It's clear to me anyway that the implementation is just not worth the risk when it comes to financial success. Because now when, and if a third game even happens, this problem will just come up again. I think it's just best that whatever you state as the rules and norm of your franchise in your first game, that you just stick to those and don't waver. Otherwise, you end up like this, and it's just tiring and annoying to see if you ask me, because none of this needed to happen. Could have been so easily avoidable, and with the way games have gone now, the apathy against this sort of stuff has grown so much larger that people simply don't need to support anything that goes against their beliefs or wants. Like, man, look at this, okay? So this was a YouTube comment, I assume, and it's from 8 years ago, and a user asked Warhorse this way before any of this happened. Just listen to this. The user asks, so those players who are not straight will be forced to romance a woman. And here's what Warhorse said again 8 years ago about Henry being straight. Nobody will force you to do anything, but you will play as Henry, the son of a blacksmith, and yes, he is straight and white and male and from Bohemia. Someone from France will not be able to play a French guy even if he loves his country. If you are in a wheelchair, you will be able to walk in the game. And Henry will be able to have a dog in the game even if you are more a kind of a cat person. You will play as a Christian person, even if you are a Muslim, Hindu, or atheist. What if you are an artist and drawing is your life? And now you have to play as a character who is not able to hold a brush or pen at all, or if you are tall or small or big or skinny. There is nothing wrong about people having different preferences and heritages, but we cannot cover them all, and we don't want to. We want to tell the story of Henry, the son of a blacksmith from Silver Scalus, and he will be different from you. Not only in his sexuality, but in his heritage, in his looks, and in his biography, and many more. My God, dude. He maybe will be able to do things you are not able to do in real life, while he lacks in other tasks in which you are great. So this game is not meant to be about you. You are not Henry, and you will be able to play Henry as you want to. You can play his role. There are so much facets that create a character, a person, an individual. Being gay or straight is not the only difference between people. People are people. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, my God, dude, this single thing, this single comment, whatever, by Warhorse, it just cooked everything that they've been saying up until this point. So let me get this straight. Henry is not the player in Kingdom Come 1. He is Henry, and is canonically straight, and he is a son of a blacksmith and a dog person. Henry is also a Christian man and follows Christian beliefs because during this time period, yeah, he would be exactly that based on where he lives. However, the director recently has stated, and in his own words, it's not mandatory and it's not Christian game, grifter bot.
And it's not Christian game, and it's not Christian game.
Like, what is going on, dude? Where is the consistency here at all? The game is a Christian game. Henry is not gay. You are not Henry. Actually, you are now Henry. The game is actually not Christian-based, even though it takes place in medieval Bohemia, for God's sakes, one of the most Christian places ever, and uses plenty of Christian imagery, though the first game and supposedly in the second too. Like Daniel Vavra, look, I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. There were no signs that I could tell before your game came out, that you would all just suddenly steer to the left like this based on how the first game went. You had the easiest layup in video game history, dude. The easiest. Nobody has had it easier. Gamergate 2 decimated the woke agenda. Trump won. You had the runway paved for you with gold and glitter. You literally just had to give people a sequel that respected the tenets of what the first game was based upon. That's it. And now, there's no defending you guys anymore because the positions, the goalposts, the messaging, everything is so inconsistent here. And your own words are going against what the players wanted here. Nothing in this is making any sense anymore. How is this not a Christian game? You're playing a white guy in medieval times fighting against a foreign army invading them that is trying to take their land away. It's literally Christianity versus other religions. What are we talking about here? Then another user theorized that Vavra added King Musa to Kingdom Come 2, who is in white obviously, and here's what Vavra said. Facts don't care about your feelings. I actually insisted on this character. It's purely my choice. Okay, but how is this not a Christian game? You know what? Little history time, everyone. Sit down, open your books. King Musa was the king of the Mali Empire. Basically, in case you don't know, that's current-day West Africa. At the height of its power, the Mali Empire was a de facto dynasty, if you will, that ruled over Africa during this time. King Musa was considered so rich, by the way, that it was generally regarded to be inconceivable for people of modern times to fathom just how wealthy this king was by modern standards. And the religion of the Mali Empire, which again is the main villain antagonistic force, in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, they practiced the Islamic religious codes. That's what they did, that's history. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just telling you what happened in history. But this game, whether Daniel Vavra wants to admit it or not, is literally a game that he made about an Islamic army force invading a Christian army force to take them over. How? In the holiest of hells, you can't tell, but my head is in my hands right now. How in the holiest of the hells is your game not a Christian game by these standards? Of course, alright, I haven't beaten the game or anything like that, so unless there's some canon ending where Henry bends the knee to Islam, I guess, and changes his name to Muhammad, then maybe, yeah, the game isn't Christian or something. But the point stands that in terms of history, the Mali Empire never conquered Europe or anything like that. Probably because the vast amount of space between these two warring places was so vast by the time their armies could even reach. Where Kingdom Come takes place, which is present-day Czech Republic by the way, this supposed Mali Empire army would be reduced due to how much travel and resources it would take to get them there. And the Mali Empire during this time period was wealthy, sure, but it was an empire on the decline during this point regardless. This franchise's entire identity is that it is a medieval European simulator game pretty much. Claiming that it's not Christian, that is ridiculous to me. I actually can't believe that Daniel Vavra said that, it baffles me. But to have your own people say in the comments that, hey, the game is pro-Christian, you are not Henry, he is his own person, you are just a player, to now actually Henry is you, the game is not this and that, it's a mess. This is such a mess, dude. Oh my god, it is a mess. The messaging and word of mouth surrounding this game is like demon core levels of cringe now that makes zero sense. I honestly went from being super excited about this game to now just facepalming and rolling my eyes whenever I hear about it. Like I said, I do think the game will probably be a success financially, but this stink, so to speak, will stick to this game for the rest of time. Also, that code of conduct that I spoke about before, where they were pretty much limiting white males from speaking in their forums, well, there's an update on that too from PC Gamer. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 forum rules that banned racism, homophobia, and neo-Nazism walked back by the publisher, which now just asks everyone to please be nice. Here's the new guidelines. Respect others, stay on topic, no spoilers without warning, no spam or self-promotion, and follow Steam's guidelines. That's it. Before, the code of conduct pretty much allowed anyone who wasn't white to bash white people specifically, but if you were white, you couldn't really say anything. It's such a mess, dude. All of this is just, why, Warhorse? Why are you guys being like this? I know PlayOn, who owns you, runs your forums, but it's clear they're spooked and they're now walking back things because of the backlash. PC Gamer's not happy that they backpedaled these options. Here's what they said. It's all very ugly and stupid, and it leads to a very obvious question. Why did Deep Silver or parent company PlayOn walk back forum rules that were well-defined and perfectly reasonable, and that provided clear and specific grounds for taking action against toxic content, because it's clearly not out of line to state that racism or homophobia will get you the heave-ho. That's how effective moderation works, and when Deep Silver says it made the change to better reflect the kind of space we all want this to be, I have to wonder what kind of space does it imagine people want. Neither PlayOn nor Warhorse have commented on the change at this point, but the comment about free speech is telling. Numerous purported fans of Kingdom Come Deliverance have complained on Steam and social media that Warhorse, and specifically creative director Daniel Vavra, have refused to answer questions about the game in order to cover up the fact that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is gone and, you guessed it, woke. The irony is that the walkback doesn't seem to have the presumably intended effect. The forums are rife with accusations that Warhorse and PlayOn are simply doing damage control and not actually addressing the real and legitimate concerns about the game, which in their mind seems to be the mere presence of gay and black characters. No, PC Gamer, the problem is that I've stated clearly in this video, Warhorse is contradicting themselves all over the place, and they are moving the goalposts all the time now when it comes to this game. There's no clear communication. There's no vision here that makes sense to people looking from the outside in. It's just, we are a Christian game. Actually, no, we're not. Henry is you, but he isn't. Also, here's a black guy who says that Islam treats women better than other religions, and all of this is just insufferable, is what it really is. Look, I tried to stay neutral in the situation, but at this point, Warhorse has opened the floodgates to oblivion. I tried to bring reason to this conversation, and every time I tried to find common ground, Warhorse has contradicted themselves. I was clearly wrong about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I was wrong about Warhorse, I guess, and I am now just washing my hands of all of this. Whatever happens next, it just happens. I can't save them from the backlash, and I'm done being the punching bag for all of this. Whether the game sinks or swims, that's up to them. If I review the game, I will see, but if I do, it'll strictly be to dissect the game with surgical precision to get to the bottom of the story. And before anyone says why support them and give them money, remember this. I bought Dragon Age Veilguard in my one purchase of that game and my coverage of it. It clearly costed BioWare a lot of money, but if my one purchase can save others, it's a necessary sacrifice. But this entire situation is ridiculous, it's stupid, and I'm tired of it. Good luck to Warhorse, they're gonna need it. This is such a mess and never needed to happen in the first place. You guys had the easiest slam dunk in history and you somehow managed to fumble it like this. I am done. This is cancer at this point. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Have a great day. And I'm going to go play something that doesn't hate me or talks down to me if you don't mind. I'll see you guys when I see you.